The next-gen consoles are coming around the corner at the end of the year, but developers are still producing AAA titles to take this generation out in style. One such developer is Naughty Dog, the team behind the successful Uncharted series. Instead of falling back on this successful series, they decided to create a whole new IP called The Last of Us that came out last week. The game has received critical acclaim by game journalists across the world. I decided I would go in blind to the game to give you my impressions, which haven't been tainted or influenced by other reviews. The Last of Us is set in a post-apocalyptic Earth where an infectious spore has turned most of the world's population into zombie-type creatures. The game takes place 20 years after the original outbreak, and humanity is now living in quarantine zones. You play as Joel, a survivor who gets wrapped up in a messy situation where he must escort a girl across numerous states to find some people to hand her over to. The girl in question is Ellie, a 14-year-old who's grown up in a world that has been forever changed by the destructive infection. The thing that makes The Last of Us so good is it doesn't depend on story twists and overarching villains that have been the tropes of Naughty Dog games in previous years. It's more about the journey and how the world operates and the people who inhabit it. The game never tells you why the outbreak happens as well, and you get to see the aftermath through Ellie's eyes, who has never seen what's happened to the world outside these safe quarantine zones. It's a nice way to convey the world to the players, since Ellie will have questions about everything you come across. It's this relation that grows between these two characters and the hardships they have to go through that makes this one of the best game stories of this generation and tops the likes of BioShock and The Walking Dead. When talking about Naughty Dog's Last of Us, we should talk about their previous game series Uncharted. The series was known for its big cinematic pieces, supernatural elements, and Nathan Drake being this all-in-one action hero with cheesy one-liners, athletic climbing abilities, and being able to absorb hundreds of bullets at a time. Instead of recreating these game mechanics, Naughty Dog took a more realistic design choice so it would actually feel like a real world inhabited by real people. I only started to take note of this when Joel had to move a dumpster, so he could reach a higher location that in any other game the player would be able to just jump up to. When you find this dumpster, you have to push it over there, but the dumpster has weight to it and actually swerves and weaves around the environment like a real dumpster would. It's these small touches that makes the game real. Joel is no Nathan Drake and will die to a few bullets or melee attacks as well. But he isn't no slouch either and has had to survive in this brutal world for the last 20 years. With how fragile Joel is, the game encourages you to use stealth to kill enemies or simply sneak past them. The game is very linear as well, asking you to get from point A to point B. You'll be crossing many different environments, from destroyed cities, great outdoors, and to the quarantine zones, all in search of these people to hand Ellie over to. The gameplay of The Last of Us is online of other survival action games with some light environmental puzzle segments. In these areas you'll come across infected and human bandits who are doing bandit type things of killing, raping and pillaging the land. You've got to get Ellie safely through all this, and this involves the main gameplay mechanics of the game. You have a couple of choices on how to tackle these areas, from sneaking straight past them, taking out everyone in the room, or a mixture of the two. The game will encourage you to sneak past the encounters, but you're not punished if you get spotted, and there are plenty of opportunities to recover or reload your last checkpoint. You'll start off the game with basic pistols and eventually make your way up to rifles, shotguns and bows to take out the enemy if things go a bit messy. Then you've got a range of items to help you distract and take out enemies, from glass bottles in the environment to throw to distract the enemies, to my personal favourite, the Molotov cocktail and nail bombs to take out a bunch of unwitting enemies. You'll have to create these items by scavenging the environment for cloths, blades, alcohol and the likes to create these items. However, you've got to ration these materials since most items you create use the same crafting materials. For example, the Molotov cocktail and medkits both use alcohol and cloth to create. At the start, ammo, weapons and crafting materials are limited on normal difficulty, but by the end you'll have lots of supplies and weapons to tackle the end of the game, which can ruin the survival aspect. But if you're here for fun gameplay and story, the normal difficulty is a nice balance, but if you're looking for a challenge, then start on hard for the true survival experience. One of the most important skills for survival is Joel's listening skill. When in this mode, Joel can sense people through walls by the sound they are making. It lets you scout the areas effectively, which allows you to either do stealth kills or sneak straight past them. But why are you trying to sneak past them and not attack them? Well, most of the enemies can come with an array of weapons if wielded by humans, and the effective come in various forms. They could be your standard 28-week later zombies who swarm and overwhelm you, to the clickers who are blinded from the infection but use echolocation to find the player and have the ability to kill the player in one hit if they get caught. There are not many enemy types in the game, since the game is more about navigating the environment they inhabit. There are a few sections where you will have to kill everyone, but these are rare. You will always have allies along for the ride as well, which you think would be hard in a stealth game, but it works out most of the time. The game doesn't punish you if your allies are seen, which is fair because of how quickly things can go messy when you get spotted. However, this brings up the one problem with the game, and it's the realism of the AI. This breaks the immersion in the game since most of the time they just plainly ignore each other, your allies and the enemy. But that brings up the question, would the game be more fun or even playable if they took notice of your allies? More than likely no, it wouldn't. This is my one gripe with the game, but it's the only one I can come up with. If you've been watching this video, you can see how amazing this game looks. The world is beautifully detailed and the character models are fantastic and are so lifelike. The mocapping for this game is brilliant as well and brings every character to life as well. The voice acting and scripting is superb and just makes the whole story excellent. The music is grim, gritty and downright depressing, which sets the mood perfectly for this game. The whole package has been polished to a brilliant shine and will come across in all the small details that have been put into this world as well. If you have a PlayStation 3, you owe it to yourself to play The Last of Us. The game is around 12 to 16 hours depending on how much exploring you do to find all the hidden collectibles. The game is also repeatable on harder difficulties as well, and there is also a new plus mode to go through it again as well. There is also a multiplayer mode if that rocks your boat as well. The real question is, should you buy or rent? I would say if you're not big on replaying games multiple times, then rent the game. But if you plan to play this game multiple times, you should buy it and add it to your game collection. The Last of Us has come at the end of this generation of consoles and it shows what the PS3 can do when the right developer gets behind it. I can't wait to see what Naughty Dog does next on the PlayStation 4. So, what are you waiting for? Go get this game now. If you've enjoyed this review, consider subscribing to my channel on Grammatically Incorrect and also following me on Twitter at jamiewinstanley.com. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.